Do you think that introversion is just the same as social anxiety? Well, it is not. However, they both have similar characteristics. Are you wondering what can be different? Introversion and social anxiety are very often confused by everyone. People consider social anxiety to be an extreme form of introversion, but in reality they're different in their ways and can be easily measured out. Social anxiety can be a mental illness that focuses on the fear of social interactions and brings in a lot of retrospecting, whereas introversion is more about social energy and the need to have their own downtime before the next social interaction. Hey guys, welcome back to our channel today. Let's differentiate between introversion and social anxiety and get the right perspective. Your friend circle is small and you try your best to keep your alone time sacred. It would be best if you had time and comfort before you were comfortable opening up to new people and engaging in long conversations with them. Parties and crowds make you nervous, but not nervous enough to make you sweat and blush. You usually cancel your plans and consider it a form of art. You are often termed as reserved and quiet. Do these characteristics define you? You can call yourself an introvert, but at the same time, have you ever wondered if there is something else that takes away your interest from being in social situations? The question usually arises between introverts if they are introverts or do they have social anxiety. The answer to this mostly depends on two things: why these behaviors feel natural to you and your feelings towards being alone. Let's dig in and get 5 differences between introversion and social anxiety and how they can easily be differentiated. Number 5, introversion is about taking small breaks from socializing to recharge yourself and prepare yourself for the next gathering. Introverts prefer taking their alone time to get themselves together and eventually head to another social situation. They are less reactionary, and needing to spend alone time isn't caused by anything specific and consider having their own time as crucial self-care. However, introverts are highly skilled at active listening. With the help of their natural skill of being good listeners, they can process the information given to them internally and help them hear and understand what the person ahead is saying. After careful consideration, they can give out the right response. On the other hand, social anxiety makes individuals feel bad right from the very beginning of a social situation. They would consider socializing as a moral obligation. They would fear being judged or having negative evolution by others. While having social interactions with others, they worry about saying the wrong thing, using the wrong tone, or even sounding dumb. A person with social anxiety would already declare the conversation a failure before even the chit-chat has begun. This constant fear of being unliked by others makes it nearly impossible for a person with social anxiety to chit-chat or even make proper eye contact with another person. Number 4, social anxiety prevents people from doing certain things and interferes with their life. Socially anxious people would miss out on great opportunities and experiences with this anxiety. It makes it very difficult for a socially anxious person to go out and do things out of their comfort zone. This constant fear a person has when they are around others makes them socially anxious. They always think of being in someone's way in the back of their head. They're always very cautious and with their words and actions when in public. They usually go underground after a social interaction, could even stay there for days, overthinking what happened. Introverts minimize their social interactions. Doing things in groups is not always preferred, but they do it at times. They like going on newer experiences but would only do it with their close circle. They can feel uncomfortable at times around people, but that doesn't stop them from being there at the moment. They prefer being the listener compared to being the speaker and only need time to recharge their social batteries and be out once again. Number 3, introverts use their alone time as a way to recharge their socializing batteries. They take this time to focus on themselves and like a little quiet time and prefer doing solo activities at this time. Introverts are open to meeting new people and creating new bonds as they're doing it on their own terms. They're not afraid of getting close to another human being, but they do it in due time. They need to feel comfortable in another person's presence and only then they're open up to striking and holding a conversation. They're usually open to people after a few meets and greets. The most important thing for an introvert while meeting new friends is comfort and a positive vibe. People with social anxiety avoid meeting new people. They constantly fear that they might mess things up and say something wrong that may push the person away. They're afraid of getting hurt and being hurt. That is why they refrain from making new friends. They're not up for social gatherings and may always find different reasons to cancel a plan. Their fear that they hold off meeting new people and eventually do something wrong is the fact that keeps them back from socializing with new individuals. These fears keep them from getting closer and inviting a new person to spend time with them. Number 2, socially anxious people are their critics. They often tend to bash themselves up over their mistakes while being around others. They tend to overthink every situation and think of different possibilities of how things could end. For people with social anxiety, the smallest thing could make them overthink a situation repeatedly until they beat themselves up at a point where they don't want to meet that person again. Social anxiety leads to the thinking of self-evaluation and how well you did do in the last social interaction. Socially anxious people tend to lose friends because of this trait. Introverts aren't bothered about their impression of others. They're reserved and quiet in their zone and only feel awkward when someone new or an unknown is around them. Being awkward is temporary until they feel comfortable speaking to them. They do not overthink small things that happen and are okay with letting go. They like an honest opinion about themselves from others but aren't worried that they need to change themselves to make someone else happy. Introverts prefer a small circle and are very selective with picking their new friends. Number 1, nobody knows what causes introversion. There are multiple speculations that it is caused at an early age and could affect you for your whole life. Researchers have found that people with introversion have a higher blood flow in their frontal lobe than an extrovert. This part of the brain helps you remember things and plan. Introvert brains react differently to dopamine as well. Introverts feel run down with this chemical when it hits them. Social anxiety is a complex interaction dependent on biological and environmental factors. Anxiety usually runs in the family, but it is not completely clear how much of it depends on biological and environmental factors. There is a structure in our brain called the amygdala, responsible for controlling the fear response. Socially anxious people have an overactive amygdala, responsible for a heightened fear response and causes increased anxiety in social situations. Social anxiety is noticed in adolescence and can be a factor growing up after developing significant anxiety after an embarrassing or unpleasant experience. Social anxiety is noticed among children whose parents are more controlling or overprotective. Social anxiety can be considered a disorder, whereas introversion is more of a way of life. However, both require medical help and are mostly caused by their own experiences or wants. If you have social anxiety at a younger age, the parent needs to seek medical help as this could worsen as they grow up. If you think after watching this video you can clear yourself as anxious or introverted, you can let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.